see from over there. She's at a funeral, I think. Yeah. Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. And before we get into tonight's agenda and public hearings, I thought I would start with what I was going to put in part of my mayor's report, but because everybody drains out of here and is not here for it, I thought I'd move up to the beginning. So I have this non-alcoholic bottle of, we're going to call it champagne, that we are not opening tonight, but I think we should leave it and sit it here for the next however many months it takes for the Alberta province to build the 1A22, which they announced today is part of the budget. So I think that is, and I think the press release today said a giant step forward to making our 1A and 22 a reality. Having it on paper, and I highlighted here today, $65 million in the budget allotted for Cochrane's 1A and 22 highway. I think that's something we should be celebrating and thanking the province for. So just wanted to open the meeting with that good news, and I think we'll just leave that right here until there is an opportunity to see an excavator on the site and some dirt actually moving, and then we'll pop that sucker. All right. So with that being said, let's take a recess from this meeting and move into our first public hearing, which is the non-statutory public hearing on Southbow Landing road closure. Mr. Nordquist, I see you're doing the Movember.
Yes, I am.
Good man.
Yes. Thankfully, it's grown enough that's noticeable now. So tonight I'm presenting Bylaw 31, 2019 for public hearing. This is in regards to the Southbow Landing road closure. So this is proposing to close a portion of the undeveloped road allowance along the south boundary of the south half of Section 26. This is replacing Bylaw 02 2019, which included a portion of the southwest quarter of Section 25, so directly adjacent to the road closure area. This closure is needed to facilitate the relocation of an existing AltaLink transmission line along the south boundary of the neighborhood. So just for reference, I have outlined the Southbow Landing neighborhood plan area in yellow, as well as the existing transmission line in red. So the proposed road closure is the area highlighted in blue. And you can see the area highlighted in teal is the area that's being removed from the previous bylaw. As well as you can see the current alignment of the AltaLink transmission line. So the neighborhood plan does identify the constraint of the transmission line and did propose to relocate the line and to improve the master planning of the neighborhood. They will integrate the existing ATCO pipeline right away to reduce inefficiencies overall in the layout of the neighborhood. And a rural-urban interface has been proposed along the south boundary of the neighborhood where the transmission line would be located. So this is showing the existing transmission line across the proposed plan area with the land use highlighted. And you can see how it moves across most of the residential land area. Moving the line would allow for that master planned area. And you can see how it would be relocated along the existing pipeline right away and along that south boundary. So this south boundary here is the road that we are proposing to close. And for reference, this is a proposed rural-urban interface that would be within that existing road right-of-way. So you can see the transmission line would be set back approximately 20 meters from the edge of the residential area. And it would allow for the development of a passway that would be integrated into our trail network. So this proposal has been circulated to external agencies and internal departments, and has been circulated to adjacent landowners, where we received one response in opposition. It was presented to the Cochrane Planning Commission on October 30th, and they were in support of the proposal and the relocation of the line to promote that master plan community. The public hearing was also advertised for 2 weeks. So the recommendation tonight is that council receives and considers all comments presented during the non-statutory public hearing for the proposed road closure. After the non-statutory public hearing is complete, the comments tonight will form part of the request for approval that will be sent to Alberta Transportation to close the road. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Council, are there any questions? Councillor Flowers.
Thank you for your presentation. Could you remind me about the emergency access and why the resident thinks that it's not safe?
Okay. So I'll just maybe show so we're talking about legal access tonight, as there is currently no physical roadway in this road allowance. This new proposal, however, will leave open, sorry, my laser pointer is dying on me. We'll leave open this portion of the road that was previously proposed to close. So there will now be legal access along this quarter section to the north-south road allowance. So there will now be continuous legal access once Southbow Landing is developed.
Thank you.
Council, any other questions? I had one similar to that, and that was, just to be clear, that is now leaving access to the east, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. No other questions? Okay. Usually we go to the applicant, but this is the town is the applicant in this regards, right?
No, the applicant is the...
Southbow, yes.
Yes.
Is there someone here from Southbow?
Yes.
Okay.
There's-
Well, then let's do that.
Okay.
I shouldn't have had that first bottle of champagne, maybe.
Good evening,
good evening.
Mayor and members of council. My name is Claire Woodside, and I'm a planner with Stantec Consulting, and I'm here with James Scott from PBA Land and Development, just to bring forward the road closure for you tonight. So, as you probably are familiar, you have seen this application come for you previously. The proposed road closure was contemplated as part of the approved Southbow Landing neighborhood plan that was approved back in 2015. Since that time, we've been working through this road closure process. And as you can see, the initial application, it considered the entire extent of that road closure right to the eastern boundary. In consultation with both adjacent landowners as well as with the town and Rocky View County, we will revise that application to then show what was previously provided to you, which was a version that shrunk the road closure. That through circulation still didn't meet the needs of all of the interested parties, so we've gone back and revised it once again. So now that you can see, it is on the western side of an additional road allowance running north-south. So all of these adjustments have been made in response to comments from adjacent landowners as well as Alberta Transportation and Rocky View County. So we do feel like we have addressed all of those through the current application. You can also see that the road closure is required in order to facilitate that relocation of the AltaLink transmission line. It does create for a much more complete and connected community as it's currently being dissected. And the road closure the future of that will be used for both a dog park and linear trail system. So there's other benefits to the community as well. So I guess In closing, we just wanted to reiterate that we have been working on this application since 2015. We've made significant amount of revisions and efforts to address all of the comments. So it is important to advance the development of the community that this road closure is reviewed and considered. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for that. Council, questions of the applicant? Councilman McFadden?
I actually have no questions. It's like deja vu or something on this one. But I move that council receive and consider all comments presented. We haven't even got to that point.
No, we're in a public hearing.
It's like we've done this before.
Yeah, we have done this a few times. Questions of the applicant? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move to the speakers list, and I have one person listed, Ms. Brenda Good.
Mayor and Council, I have spoken on this subject twice before and sent in 2 submissions, so I think you know my concerns were mainly of access, and I'm very glad to hear that the east end will be left open. I was wondering if that would be a barrier or anything that emergency services, just for emergency services or for us with our cattle, if we had to get something out of there. That was my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just before you leave, if there's questions of council, I have one for you.
Okay.
We talked about the past 2 closures. I'm hearing that this meets your needs in allowing the legal access to your eastern.
If we can get by that tower, and if the east end is open, then we're okay.
Okay. And
Thank
then
you very much.
Your question is about what style of gate, if any, would
Yes.
be on that.
Would that be just something that was padlocked and chained, or would there be something that we could use if we had to get down there to do something with our ranch, which is adjacent?
Okay, we can ask that. Oh, Mr. Heineman, do you have a comment?
To the mayor and to the question, and to council, excuse me, we haven't got to the details of fencing, gates, things like that. However, we can confirm that that portion of the road allowance would remain open. There would be an opportunity for access for Ms. Monroe and other residents should they need it, as well as emergency access. Nothing's really going to change. That's one of the key elements of our discussions with the applicant, Rocky View County, as well as Alberta Transportation on this one. So we think we've brought you a solution that works for everybody, and we're looking forward to moving forward with this.
So to be determined on the gate, but I would imagine it would be similar to other roads that we have closed like that, with a gate, with a lock that other community residents have.
As the community also develops, you know, this is to allow Southbow Landing to proceed with development, so when those changes are necessary. However, this is an undeveloped road allowance. It's not even fenced according in that manner right now. So again, we'll address those things at the appropriate time.
Okay.
And hopefully it wouldn't become a dump station or a nuisance grounds. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else in the gallery that wishes to speak for or against the proposed road closure? Seeing none. Council, any other questions? Administration? Does the applicant wish to close with any remarks? No? Mr. Scott?
Hi, thank you. James Scott with PBA Land, representing Philco Farms. Just closing remarks, I should say thank you and appreciate your consideration. As Ms. Woodside mentioned, this has been a little while going around and around, so we're glad to have arrived at a solution that I think is going to work for everyone. So appreciate your support on this. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Seeing no other questions, we will close that public hearing and move into the next. Except we'll give our IT department 13 seconds to redirect the feed.